God didn't put you here by accident. You were chosen for this. I know you don't feel chosen. I know you feel overwhelmed, unprepared, unqualified. I know you look at this season of your life and wonder, why me? Why now? Why this battle? Why this burden? Why this assignment? And I know there are moments when you want to walk away, when you want to quit, when you feel like you weren't made for this. But that's where you're wrong. You were made for exactly this. There was a time when I felt the same way. I looked at what God was asking me to do, at the weight He was asking me to carry, at the calling He was placing on my life, and I felt completely inadequate. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't wise enough. I wasn't brave enough. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the confidence, and I cried out to God, "You have the wrong person. I can't do this. Find someone else, someone better, someone stronger, someone who actually knows what they're doing." But God didn't find someone else. He chose me, and He kept choosing me, even when I doubted myself, even when I failed, even when I wanted to give up. He kept saying, "You are the one I want for this. You are the one I've prepared for this. You are the one I've chosen for this season." And slowly, I began to understand something. God doesn't choose us because we're qualified. He chooses us and then qualifies us. He doesn't wait until we're ready. He makes us ready through the process. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verses 27 through 29 say, "But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before Him." God chose the weak, the foolish, the lowly, the despised. Not because He couldn't find anyone better, but because when He uses the unlikely, everyone knows it's Him. When He takes someone who feels inadequate and does something extraordinary through them, the glory goes to God, not the person. And that's the point. This season isn't about proving you're strong enough. It's about proving God is faithful enough. I started looking back at my life with new eyes. Every struggle I had been through, every season of pain, every closed door, every disappointment, every delay, it wasn't random. It wasn't meaningless. It was preparation. God was training me for this moment. He was building my character. He was strengthening my faith. He was teaching me to depend on Him instead of myself. He was shaping me into the person who could handle what He was about to give me. Think about Moses. He was a murderer, a fugitive, a stutterer. He spent 40 years in the wilderness tending sheep, convinced his life was over, convinced he had disqualified himself from anything significant. But God showed up in a burning bush and said, "I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people out of Egypt." And Moses said the same thing I said. "Who am I to do this? I'm not qualified. I'm not capable. Send someone else." But God said in Exodus chapter 3, verse 12, "I will be with you." That's the only qualification you need, not your strength, not your ability, not your resume, God's presence. Moses didn't feel ready, but God had been preparing him his entire life. The years in Pharaoh's palace taught him how the system worked. The years in the wilderness taught him humility and dependence on God. Every season, every experience, every struggle was building him for his assignment. And when the time came, God said, "Now, this is your moment. This is your season, and I've chosen you for it." The same is true for you. This season you're in right now, the one that feels too hard, too overwhelming. Too much. It's not a mistake. You didn't end up here by chance. You were assigned here by God, and everything you've been through up until now has been preparing you for this. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." God has plans for you, and this season is part of that plan. Maybe you're in a season of leadership and you feel unqualified. Maybe you're in a season of suffering and you feel weak. Maybe you're in a season of waiting and you feel forgotten. Maybe you're in a season of transition and you feel lost. Whatever season you're in, hear this. You were chosen for it. God placed you here intentionally, and He's not going to leave you to figure it out alone. Think about Esther. She was an orphan, a Jewish girl living in exile. She became queen, but not because she was looking for power. She was just trying to survive. And then one day, her cousin Mordecai came to her with a terrifying request. The Jewish people were about to be annihilated, and Esther was the only one in a position to stop it. But it could cost her everything. She could be killed for approaching the king without being summoned. And Esther was afraid. She hesitated. She didn't feel ready for this. But Mordecai said something that changed everything. Esther chapter 4, verse 14. "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" For such a time as this. Esther wasn't queen by accident. She was queen because God had positioned her for this exact moment. Her entire life, every twist and turn, every painful experience had been leading her to this assignment. And when she realized that, when she understood she was chosen for this season, she found the courage to act. She said, "I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." And she didn't perish. She saved her people, because she was chosen for that season. And you, right now, are chosen for yours. Maybe you're in a position of influence, and God is calling you to use it. Maybe you're in a place of pain, and God is calling you to trust Him through it. Maybe you're in a season of obscurity, and God is calling you to be faithful in the small things. Whatever it is, this is your for such a time as this moment. You might not see it yet. You might not understand why. But one day, you'll look back and realize that everything God allowed, everything He asked of you, everything He walked you through, was preparing you for something greater than you could have imagined. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." You have been called, and God is working everything together for your good and His glory. So stop doubting yourself. Stop questioning why God chose you. Stop waiting until you feel ready. You'll never feel fully ready. But God is ready, and He's with you. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." God will strengthen you. God will help you. God will uphold you. You don't have to do this in your own power. You just have to show up and trust that He'll do the rest. This season might be hard. It might require everything you have and more. It might stretch you, challenge you, break you open in ways you didn't expect. But it's also shaping you, refining you, building you into who you were always meant to be. And on the other side of this season, you'll be stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more dependent on God, and more aware of His faithfulness than you've ever been. So walk boldly into your calling. Step into your assignment. Embrace this season with courage and faith. Because you were chosen for this, not because you're perfect, but because God is. Not because you're strong enough, but because He is. Not because you have all the answers, but because He does. And He's going to use you in ways you can't even imagine yet. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all this through Him who gives me strength. Not in your strength, in His. And His strength is more than enough. You were chosen for this season. Now walk in it. Trust it. Believe it. And watch what God does through you. If this message reminded you of your purpose, don't stop here. In the description and in the pinned comment, you'll find something that will help you go deeper, to grow stronger in faith, live with courage, and walk boldly in your calling.